I thought to myself, and I said to him, if someone burned an American flag, nobody would fight over it. You get to burn the American flag. But burning the flag of another country, which is not our country, to which we do not pay taxes, whose military we don't serve in, that's the most offensive thing. Yeah. I'm like, we have lost the thread, man. We're all Americans. And if you wind up in a place where our allegiance to other countries or regions or things that are not American take precedence over our common Americanness, I mean, we're screwed. We're screwed.
Tucker Carlson has been destroying Ben Shapiro, the Daily Wire, and the rest of the neocons out there like Dave Rubin and everybody else who cares more about other countries than they do actual United States that they claim that they care so much about. They claim that they want to defend the Constitution of with free speech and everything like that so much. And yet they ride for other countries a lot more than they ride for the country that they actually reside in. Tucker Carlson is going in once again on people like Ben Shapiro and the rest of these guys and kind of addressing some of Ben Shapiro's statements directly. I wish these guys would just have a sit down and just argue, you know, one-to-one. It seems like Ben Shapiro and Tucker Carlson both are guilty of going on other podcasts and talking about each other, sometimes directly, sometimes indirectly, but it happens basically every single podcast that they go on. I wish they would just sit down and hash it out together. I think that would be awesome to watch, and I honestly think Tucker would wipe the floor with Ben Shapiro. Anyway, let's get into this clip here of Tucker Carlson absolutely destroying Ben Shapiro and the rest of the neocons.
You know, who's more right or whatever, but I thought to myself, and I said to him, if someone burned an American flag, nobody would fight over it. You get to burn the American flag. But burning the flag of another country, which is not our country, to which we do not pay taxes, whose military we don't serve in, that's the most offensive thing. Yeah. I'm like, we have lost the thread, man. We're all Americans. And if you wind up in a place where our allegiance to other countries or regions or things that are not American take precedence over our common Americanness, I mean, we're screwed. We're screwed.
If you enjoy content like this, then make sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel. It really does help me out a ton. Let's get back to the video.
I feel like we're at the apex of that sometimes.
Yes.
And if we're not at the apex of that, I don't think in the, I can't tell if we're at that in the, I think we're getting to that in the moral compass of a lot of people.
Yeah.
And it's sad because I think a lot of people, myself included, or for myself, I don't think I ever wanted to get to that place.
No.
I never, but I think a lot of people are just starting to feel like, you know, once your Americanism like dissolves and once your like common thread dissolves, you don't have a connection, you know? And so then it's your instincts start to take over like we're kind of talking about, and you have to take care of yourself. And so once like the ice you're on starts to get melting, like before you're on an ice, you can skate, you're seeing other people, you're fucking you know.
If you enjoy content like this, then make sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel. It really does help me out a ton. Let's get back to the video.
Buying a, you know, bootleg Gretzky jersey off somebody, whatever. You guys are all on the ice, right? You're imitating Home Alone. There's a fucking, you know, gays, or there's gay guys always on the ice. But it's like,
what are the gays doing on the ice, do you think?
Skating, bro. Yeah.
Stupid.
But they're having fun, right?
I
lived, and I'll say that I lived with a gay ice skater, and he could jump over a Volkswagen, right?
That's impressive.
Oh, it was unbelievable, bro. I'd never seen it.
Strong ankles.
I mean, just the dude was like, yeah, he brought us out of the living room once and showed us and blew our minds, man. Beautiful guy. Not that great. I mean, pretty beautiful, I guess, tall.
I don't know how this guy can just go off on these tangents so easily, but they are making a really good point. And I think, you know, people, when they lose their Americanism, they, you know, revert to tribalism. So whatever tribe they feel like they're a part of, instead of trying to better America, they just do whatever is best for that specific tribe. And that's what people like Ben Shapiro are doing. That's what people like the other neocons are doing. And that is by design. They don't want you to have, you know, they don't want you to be patriotic. They don't want you to support America, because when you stop supporting America, you become tribalism. Everybody gets more divided, and, you know, divide and conquer. I don't need to explain it to you. I'm sure you understand what I'm talking about, but they don't want you to be loyal or have an allegiance to a certain country. They want you to be loyal to the WEF, you know, the New World Order, or whatever you want to call it. And that is, you know, it's kind of step one that's happening right now, where people like Ben Shapiro and everybody who claims that they're so loyal to America, and then as soon as that certain country over in the Middle East comes around and they need a little bit of help, all of their loyalty and allegiance to America and America's Constitution, and trying to spend less money on other countries than they do on America itself, all that goes out the window. And that's by design. So Tucker Carlson and Theo Von are making a really good point here, in that whenever your Americanism goes away, you know, it's kind of like free game. Now it's tribalism. Now it's what is the best for me. And for some people, that's, leftist, or leftism, wokeism, whatever you want to call it, and trying to get trans people in power everywhere, trying to get all white people out of power everywhere, and trying to put down all white people and, put down all straight people. Or maybe it's, like the neocons, and they're trying to give money away just left and right to all these other countries, Ukraine, Israel, whatever the case is. Now it becomes tribalism, no more about Americanism. People who are lying, the fact that, there's not crime going absolutely crazy. I saw some stat the other day. It was like 128 people were shot on 4th of July weekend in Chicago. And if you ask a lot of leftists, this isn't even a hypothetical. They've done this on the news. Joy Reid and other people, on The View and stuff like that, they'll lie and say that crime is actually getting better in Chicago. I cover a lot of Anna Kasparian stuff recently, and she said that crime has been going crazy in Chicago, and all of her comments were saying, no, actually crime is getting better under Biden in cities like Chicago. And that's what they're talking about. That's what Tucker Carlson and Theo Von are talking about. Once the Americanism leaves you by design, you now revert to tribalism, and tribalism is very emotional. It's not logical, and so is Americanism. But when we're all loyal to America or something bigger, whether that's religion or, patriotism, whatever, it's a lot harder to divide and conquer at that point.
Tall.
Which adds a little
but well
bit.
built too, obviously.
Oh, yeah, kind of. I don't know. I'm gonna quit thinking about him. But anyway, once that ice starts to melt, the first thing you have to think about is yourself, right?
Yeah.
And so that's what I feel like where we're at now. And a lot of people are having to think about themselves, like literally watching our country or what we viewed as our ideals and morals and what we held dear, like sink in this water, and there's nothing you can do about it except take care of yourself. That's where I feel like a lot of people are at. There's nothing they can do right now but take care of themselves.
And they're displacing a lot of their frustration about our economy, which we never talk about. It's getting very expensive for people to live here, like too expensive, actually.
Oh, yeah. I saw some
Scary.
gas the other day. I was like, Jesus, man.
But how do people afford that?
Yeah.
Well,
how do you even do a bonfire anymore? What I'm saying?
It's totally
shit,
right.
Yeah.
No, it's completely right.
Yeah.
How do you, if you want to take, gasoline and pour it on the pallets, like it's $6,
Right.
But they're displacing a lot of that frustration onto regions, countries, conflicts that are thousands of miles away. It's almost like I'm picking a team and all my rage is going to, and I do wish people reserve their anger for our leaders who deserve it, in my opinion, on both sides, and for the problems that are like besetting the country. You drive through America recently, it's like not in good shape at all. It's kind of poor, actually, shockingly poor. And people should be really mad about that. And instead they're mad about whatever, Israel, Hamas. I mean, I get it. I think they're, I understand when people are upset on both sides. However, it's unhealthy to spend all your time in your head enraged about a foreign conflict when your own country is suffering so badly. Like, we need that energy, that constructive energy here.
100%. That is exactly what I've been criticizing. That's exactly what Tucker Carlson has been criticizing, and so many other people who watch these videos and who make other content as well have been criticizing about Ben Shapiro and these neocons. They're so focused on everything except for what is happening at home, except for what is happening here, and that is a problem, And I don't know if that's, if they're making a strategic decision to talk about those things because it makes them more money, or what exactly it is, if their allegiance just truly is to those countries more than it is to America. Whatever the case is, though, it's harmful discourse. It's, and I always say it's very easy. It's the easy thing to say, oh, the solution is stop giving money to these foreign countries and then spend it on problems that we have here. And that is very easy to say. It's very easy to agree with. And I agree with that statement. I think we should stop all foreign aid completely, altogether. Stop it. Why are we doing it? We have a lot of problems here that need to be solved. The issue is, though, the leadership. The issue is not like exactly what Tucker Carlson is saying. I wish he would go a little bit deeper into it, because he's scratching at something that I've been saying and that I've realized recently is like, let's say best case scenario, we win and we stop giving foreign aid to all countries and we start spending it on America and what America needs. Well, the problem is these people, like I was talking about earlier, they don't view the problems that we have in our country as problems. They don't view the crime problem as problems. They think that's the solution, and they'll just lie and say, oh, the crime is actually not that bad. They don't view the border crisis as a crisis or a problem. They view that as a solution. The people in charge do. They don't view the suffering economy and the fact that the cost of living is so high that Tucker Carlson's talking about as a problem. They view that as a solution. So even if we stop all foreign aid, that money wouldn't go to solutions. That money wouldn't go to solving problems in the United States because they don't view those things as problems. That money would probably go to putting more trans people in charge of the military and just nonsensical things like that. So the real problem is not spending money on foreign aid. The real problem is the leadership that is choosing to do that, and also the leadership that would choose to do that over solving problems within the United States. So the real problem is the leadership that Tucker Carlson is talking about, 110%.
And I never hear anybody say 108,000 people died of fentanyl ODs last year in my country.
Oh, yeah.
Like young people, a lot of them weren't doing fentanyl. They were taking Percocet or benzos, and they ingested a pill with fentanyl in it, and they died. They were poisoned to death, okay? That's unbelievable. That's outrageous. No one seems mad about that.
Yeah.
They're mad about some foreign war, and what a waste. You know, because we can't get...
Definitely a waste. And there's also this clip here of Ben Shapiro talking about Tucker Carlson talking about these things, as they always do. They always just react to each other and stuff. Let's check out this clip here of Ben Shapiro just losing his mind over things that Tucker Carlson is saying.
Again, I want to add my voice to that because I'm a human being. But
oh, sure you do.
The
You sound very
outraged.
outraged.
The outrage among Republican presidential candidates was so much more intense. One of them took to a bullhorn and started yelling about it. I get it. But no one would think to do that about the 100,000 American young people murdered every year. And they
because who are you yelling at? Who are you yelling at? First of all, people are on bullhorns yelling about drug overdoses and the open border all the time. All the time. What is he even talking about? What he's attempting to do is minimize what happened in Israel. He's not.
Do you see how mad Ben Shapiro gets whenever he's called out, especially by Tucker Carlson? He cannot stand getting called out by Tucker Carlson. And in the Theo Vaughn clips and in this clip here where he's talking to Vivek Ramaswamy, he's not naming Ben Shapiro by name. But Ben Shapiro takes massive offense, and he gets more animated than I've seen Ben Shapiro get about many things. You know, he's usually pretty calm and collected, but whenever Tucker Carlson calls him out, even indirectly, he loses it because he knows his reputation is getting tarnished every time.
To maximize what happened in the United States, he's attempting to minimize, as though America can't walk and chew gum, morally speaking, at the same time, which is absurd. And those two things are nothing alike. I'm sorry, that is not alike. It is not alike for drug smugglers to smuggle drugs over the border, which someone then takes and shoves into their arm and then they die of an overdose. That is not the same thing. I promise you, it is not the same thing as a terrorist breaking into your home and murdering your children in their beds in front of you and dragging your wife off to be raped in Gaza. That is not the same thing. Pretending that it is immoral. It's a moral blight.
I think we can all agree that that is horrible. That is 100%, you know, it's a horrible thing. It shouldn't be happening. But man, there's horrible things happening all across the world. Why does Ben Shapiro not show this outrage over the, I don't know if I'm able to say the word, but the mass offing of the certain Muslim tribes in China? Why does he not talk about that? Why is he not super outraged about that specifically whenever Tucker Carlson says we should focus on what's happening in our country and not worry about what's happening in the rest of the world because we have major problems? You know, I understand that drug overdoses in America is not directly comparable to things that Hamas did to Israel. I can't understand that. But at the same time, we are not Ben Shapiro's favorite country. We are America. And if there's a problem within our country, especially a problem that is taking the lives of young people, we should probably focus on that before we focus on other countries, no matter how bad the atrocities get, unless they start to directly affect America. That's just how I think of things. And I think that's how Ben Shapiro thinks of things as well. It's just when it comes to this one country that Ben Shapiro loves so much, that he just loses all logic and reason, and it just goes out the window. Let me know in the comments what you think about Tucker Carlson calling out Ben Shapiro and the neocons once again for spreading very, very harmful things online and just kind of brainwashing the American people into believing what they believe, which is, once again, very harmful and inflammatory, not just for us, but for the entire world. Let me know in the comments what you think about this whole Tucker Carlson versus Ben Shapiro situation.